Hey you guys, thank you for clicking on this video. I appreciate your views and I apologize for the quality of this intro. I forgot to film it on my good camera and I look like absolute horrible crap because I kind of just woke up. It's before noon though, so I'm being a protective member of society and waking up before noon, so that's good news. I just wanted to kind of give you an idea of what this video is because it's going to be really hard to do the voiceover on it. So to put things in perspective, I'm making soap, and this is the first time I've ever tried to make this soap. Mistakes were made, lots of mistakes. I am not happy with the overall outcome of the soap, so this is my attempt at making watermelon soap. There's a lot of things I'm going to have to be tweaking in my next batch. This is why I make very small batches of only about 4 to 6 bars of soap per batch. That way, if I make mistakes, I'm able to fix them. So, in the very beginning of this video, you see me making embeds with opaque soap, and I ended up hating them, so I switched over and made some off-camera with clear soap, and I still don't like them. So let's go ahead and get right on into the video. Okay, my original plan for the seeds was to use charcoal soap. The color wasn't quite right, and as you can see, I am making a huge mess, so I switched over and I tried to use a fork instead of the dropper, and again, I'm still making a mess. And this soap dries really fast, so it's really hard to work with, and I'm struggling. This is a major struggle bus. And here I am making the green part of the watermelon, and it is taking me so much colorant to get the right green color. And this is more of a bluish green tone, so it's not even really the right color for this, but I proceed with making the embeds anyways, even though I'm already displeased at how this is going. This part would have been really cool if my hand wasn't blocking the entire shot like an idiot, but hey, I'm not very good at camera angles. Oh crap, it's spilling into my seeds. That's not supposed to happen. I don't know how I'm going to clean that up. Already off to a great start here. I will talk about this fragrance oil a little bit later. Moving on to the pink watermelon part. It is so hard to get the right watermelon color. It's not red, it's not pink. You gotta add a little orange to it. I was struggling to get the correct color. I need to get a better colorant than this liquid stuff. Ignore the pineapple that you see in this mold. I had to measure soap for that, but that is a whole different video. The seeds did not come out right at all. They look horrible, and then there's a lot of contamination with charcoal. It just kind of got everywhere. And yeah, I'm not happy with this particular watermelon slice. The second one did not fare any better. A lot of the seeds got stuck inside of the mold. That was fun to clean out. The third one actually ended up looking the best, but I ended up scrapping all of these embeds and I just made a scrap bar of soap with them. And I mean, it still smells good. It's just the embeds did not work out. Embeds take 2. These definitely looked out better, but once again, my coloring is so off. I put white on top because I'm worried about the colors bleeding into the bar of soap. These colors do bleed really bad, and the green part did not turn out very well, and the red part is too dark, so again, I hate it. But they did turn out better. Now for the seeds in these, I put poppy seeds into the cavity, and then I just poured the pink part over them, and it worked out much better than the charcoal soap. I'm definitely at least happy with that part. The lighting in my kitchen is horrible, but I tried to put it on a paper plate so you can get a better look at the embeds. Yeah, it doesn't really work as well. But I have to cut the embeds in half because they are too big for my soap molds, and they ended up looking like pizza. So
It's a pizza soap that smells like watermelon, I guess. I tried being really precise with my measurements on this soap because I only intended to make 3 bars, which takes about 12 ounces of soap, but I round that up to a full pound, which is 16 ounces, because there's always some left over in the glass container, so you want to give yourself a little bit of wiggle room. But somehow I even messed up the measurements and I ended up with 4 bars of soap. Some people like the sound of cutting soap, so I left the audio on in here. Enjoy some ASMR. I like cutting my soap into teeny tiny pieces because it melts faster, because I'm a very impatient person. Alright, moving on to the main portion of the bar. This is the pink part, and in future batches I'm going to be changing this into mostly clear. I just cannot get the correct color. They're so muted. I can't get bright colors, and I think I need to switch over to using colored micas, but I don't want to switch over to colored micas because you have to buy them in large tubs and I just don't have anywhere to store them. So I'm trying to stay with these liquid drops. And this is what I call a scrubby bar, so I'm adding poppy seeds to 1, exfoliate, and 2, to mimic the seeds of the watermelon. I'm not sure how these seeds are going to behave in the soap. There is a very good chance that they're going to sink to the bottom, but I'm okay with that. It's okay if they decide to sink to the bottom. I would rather that they were suspended, but that's probably just not the case. Now about this fragrance oil, it is a watermelon candy type, and I barely get a sense of watermelon in it. It just smells like straight up candy. So I will probably be using something different. I have to use all of this fragrance oil, however, because I'm not going to waste it, obviously. I'm going to use it, but the fragrance oil is not my favorite. It does smell really good. It smells very sweet and candy-like, but I can barely pick up any scent of watermelon. The ratio of pink to white to green is off on my bars. They're almost all equal, so I'm going to have to make sure to use extra pink and less of the green. And as you can see, I ended up making I actually made 5 bars here. The 5th one is kind of my mistake bar, and that's the bar that I use to test in my shower to make sure it's not too scrubby, or to make sure that the fragrance oil isn't too strong. But yeah, I'm gonna have to add more pink and a little less green next time. The most satisfying part of soap making with melt and pour soap is peeling it out of the glass container. It's so satisfying. I didn't let it cool off before I started peeling because, like I said, I'm an impatient person, so usually it will all come up in one peel, but this one kind of broke apart because it's still a little wet on the bottom. This is just the thin white layer, and I know there's no actual seeds in the white layer of a watermelon. I just wanted to make sure that there were seeds in the middle of the bar in case that they did end up sinking to the bottom. That way it just places them more throughout the soap. And even though this is a thin layer, I still added a little bit of fragrance oil, even though it's really hard to pour into a teaspoon. Now it looks like a dragon fruit bar. You know, the white fruit that has little specks inside. That's what it reminds me of. And as you can see on the 5th bar, I actually ran out of white soap, so I had to make some more real quick to fill up the gaps. You spray rubbing alcohol to make the different layers of soap stick together better, otherwise they could separate and then you have to rebatch the whole thing. Rubbing alcohol will also pop any surface bubbles if you don't want the bubbles on your soap. Sometimes I like them there, sometimes I don't. And this here is the green part, and once again I struggled so much to get the correct color, and the color I ended up with is like a blue-green and it's really muted, and I was really hoping for super vibrant bright colors, but it just did not happen. So like I said earlier, I will be tweaking this batch a little bit more in the future, and I think I'll be doing mostly clear soap and adding just a little bit of the white soap to anchor it, but I might have to switch over to using micas. These colorants, they also bleed really bad, and I know some of the micas bleed as well, but I feel like they would be much better to use than these little liquid dropper ones. I even used some color theory and added yellow to hopefully cancel out the blue, and it just didn't work. Maybe I should have added extra yellow, but yeah, it didn't work. And I'm just keep adding more and more of the green, trying to get a more vibrant color. And yeah, not very happy with the end result for this one. And next up, I get to squish these pizza slices into my bars. Don't they look like pizza? It's kind of crazy, but they are watermelon, I promise. If I could make a pizza scented soap, I probably would, because I'm weird like that, but it is watermelon. I will be cutting the embeds differently to make it more of a watermelon slice and less of a pizza looking slice. And I was going to put a clear coat on top of these just to keep the seeds in there, but I didn't do it on this particular soap. I might do it in the future. That way the embed stays in place and the little poppy seeds will stay in place as well. This last bar was such a struggle. I had to add more soap into it to make it filled. And here is the end result. I love unmolding these. It's so fun. And as I suspected, the poppy seeds did all sink to the bottom, which is fine. I'm okay with it. And the green and pink is kind of equal there, which is not what I was hoping for, but that's okay. It still is a usable bar, and I still really enjoy it. I did test it out in my shower, and surprisingly, the poppy seeds were not too scrubby, so I'm actually really happy with it. The biggest thing with these bars is just getting the coloring correct. I like very colorful and vibrant things, and this is kind of the opposite of colorful and vibrant. So I will definitely be working on changing the colors of this at least, and then the shape of the embed. So I have a lot of work to do the next time I make this soap. And I'm going to show you how I wrap my bars. I don't use fancy shrink wrap. Maybe in the future I'll be able to, but I just cannot invest any more money in this soap stuff since I'm not able to sell it right now. Everything was canceled, and my vendor events in the spring, they were all canceled. That's why I stopped making soap. And this is the 5th bar that I'm wrapping just as kind of a practice. I'm not actually selling the 5th bar, I'm using it myself, but I needed to practice to make sure I didn't mess up the other bars. And there it is. I realize this is like a really boring part of this video, and I probably should have cut it, but it's too late now. I'm already recording the voiceover, and I'm not going to cut it, but just neatly wrapping my bars. And for some reason, the clear soap that the embeds are made out of, they like to crystallize on me. It's not condensation, it's not sweating, it kind of crystallizes, and I'm not sure if it's the soap itself or if it's the colorant or if it's a mixture of the two, but it looks kind of weird. I just can't get a good wrap on it to prevent that. I know that shrink wrapping would be a better option. It's just expensive and I don't have the tools to use it. But this is why I like to put a clear over the embeds, a clear layer of soap. That way the embeds don't crystallize and the whole thing is encapsulated. But I didn't have room for a clear coat. I'm going to have to attempt this again in the future to make it better. I thank you for watching my very poor quality video. The lighting in my kitchen is horrible and I just can't quite figure it out yet, but maybe one of these days I'll get it. Thanks for watching and I'll see you again sometime, maybe this week or next week. I have no idea. Bye!